Oh, this is now how I want my loaf to be. Yeah, because look at that. It's like almost like a Frisbee, okay? Okay. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Rosa, and on this channel we make plant-based food for you and your family to enjoy. So lately, I've been craving bread. I don't know why, but I just been wanting some hot, warm, delicious bread, and I went to the store. I tried to go seek out for a nice crusty loaf of bread, and it's so expensive, okay guys? Like, I'm not trying to pay like $8 a loaf of bread, all right? And plus, a lot of the breads out here, they have the fillers in them. Not only that they're expensive, but they have all these different ingredients in it that I can't even pronounce sometimes, okay? And I kind of wanted a simple bread like I used to eat when I was a kid, because my mom used to make delicious bread, and this one thing she did get right, she didn't know how to cook. I'm gonna give her that, but she did make some delicious breads, okay? And baked goods. So today I wanna create that childhood bread that was simple, easy, and delicious, and really only had 3 ingredients. But the challenge is, I only have an air fryer. I don't have an actual oven, as a lot of you guys know. So for this video, we're gonna figure out how to make a delicious loaf of bread using the air fryer. So let's get started. So this is a no-knead recipe, and it's only 3 ingredients. So you wanna start off with a large bowl because the dough will rise. So we're gonna start with 3 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, and you can also use all-purpose gluten-free flour as well. 1 teaspoon of active dry yeast, toss that around a little bit, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Give that a light toss. And last, we're gonna add 2 cups of warm water and stir that all up. And with your water, don't make the water hot, because if you make the water too hot, it's gonna kill the yeast and your dough will not rise. So we're gonna cover up the bowl, and I happen to have a lid for my bowl, or you can also use a plate or a clean kitchen towel, but you're gonna cover it up and let it sit for about 2 to 3 hours in a warm area in the kitchen, okay? Okay guys, so the dough has risen for the bread, and I let that stand for about 3 1/2 hours, and now we're going to transfer it into another bowl, and I put a little bit of dusted flour in that bowl as well, and we're going to let that rise for about 40 more minutes, and then we're going to bake. All right guys, so our second rising for our dough is all ready, and this is what it came out like. So it's still a little loose. So I don't have a Dutch oven like I think I said earlier, so I'm putting a cast iron skillet, about that size cast iron skillet, in the oven to warm up for about 10-15 minutes on 230 degrees Celsius or 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And what we're gonna do now is kind of stir the dough a little bit from the bottom, and we're just kind of folding it over. We're pulling some of that flour that's from the bottom that we floured the pan, this bowl with, okay? So we're just folding it a little bit to give it a little bit of love, a couple of times. So once the cast iron skillet is out, we're gonna add 1/2 of this dough in the pan. And since my pan is kind of wide, the cast iron skillet, I'm hoping that it rises up high enough. We might get a slightly high bed about like that, we'll see. But we're gonna just use 1/2 of this dough, and we're gonna put the other 1/2 in the refrigerator, and it can hold in the refrigerator for about 10 days when it's lightly, kind of like a adjacent lid, but not too tight, okay? What we're gonna do is put a little bit of flour at the bottom of the pan so that the dough doesn't stick. We're gonna put a lid on it. The lid is gonna kind of mimic a Dutch oven, if I can get it on there. Okay. Okay, it's gonna mimic a Dutch oven. And we're gonna put it back in the oven ever so gently. And we're gonna let that bake at the 230 degrees Celsius or 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes, and then we're gonna reduce the temperature and then let it cook for another 30 or so minutes. So I'll come back and show you that part. All right guys, it's been 35 minutes. I'm about to take it out the oven and check it, okay? So hopefully it rises, fingers crossed. Oh, interesting. We're gonna put it back in the oven so it can hopefully get a crusty top, okay? Because that's the goal. Look how thin that is. That's pretty thin. It's hollow like bread, you know what I mean? So I know it's cooked inside. This is now how I want my loaf to be. I'm gonna make some adjustments and make it just right for you guys. But yeah, cause look at that, it's like almost like a Frisbee, okay? Okay, but we're gonna cut into it anyway, just for fun. And when I come back after this, I'll show you how the real loaf of bread is gonna be. And I only let it cool for like, I don't know, I didn't let it cool long enough, but that's how it looks. Well, it's bread-like. It's just super thin bread-like. I mean, it's good. It's just so thin. And that's not how it should be. It should be higher than that, but it does have some sponginess to it. So, it's not the end of the video. We are going to make it again. I'm gonna make some adjustments and do some measurements and stuff, make it again and show you how it should look, okay? Because you know, this is cooking and it don't always come out perfect, but we're gonna fix it. So I'll see you in a little bit. All right guys, so like I said, I'll be back because yesterday that was no good, okay? So I went back and looked at my notes and noticed that I add too much water and other few things that I had to make some adjustments. So we're starting over from scratch per se, and I'll make sure I put the recipe in the website so that you guys can go over there. However, right here is after this been sitting, the dough's been sitting for about 2 hours. I made some adjustments, and so this one is nice and fluffy and it's thicker, okay? It shouldn't have been so thin yesterday, and that was the problem, and I knew something was up when I saw how loose the dough was yesterday. So it should look like this. So this is gonna be the second rising. So we're gonna take this and put it on the cutting board, and again, we don't need to knead anything. We're just going to shape it into a nice round shape, you know, like a loaf. And then we're gonna let it actually sit again for about 30 minutes to an hour. So you wanna flour up your hands. Oops, let me take off my bracelet. You're just gonna put it on the floured surface. Get that pulled out. Oops. A little sticky. Just trying to escape. I probably needed my bigger cutting board, but that's okay. You can always add a little more flour to your hands. And let me grab a spatula so I can get that out. But you notice how this one, even though it's sticky, it's thicker than the last previous dough that I made. The other one was super watery. So this is a good sign, all right? And I see some air bubbles in it as well. So I transferred the dough onto a bigger cutting board because I didn't have enough room. And what you're gonna do is just pretty much just shape it into the loaf that you want. Tucking it in a little bit. Not per se kneading it per se, just kind of tucking it so that you can get the shape that you want, you know? Like that. So after you shape the dough, you're gonna put a little bit of flour on a piece of parchment paper on a hard surface, and you can do it on your counter. I'm just putting it on another cutting board, and then we're gonna just transfer it over, and you can reshape it. This dough is forgiving, so you can do all the things to it, okay? All right, and we're gonna let that rise covered for about 30 minutes to an hour. I'm gonna give it an hour because I want it to be more aerated or more fluffier, and then I'll show you what's next. All right, so the dough has been rising for about 45 minutes, and we're going to now put our oven on 230 degrees Celsius or 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're gonna put the cast iron skillet into the oven and let it kind of get warmed up for about 10 minutes. And then we'll take it out and transfer the dough back into that and bake it, okay? So that was rising for about an hour. What we're gonna do is slide it onto the hot pan. But first, well, actually we don't need to dust it like yesterday with the flour, because I'm gonna actually keep it on the parchment paper. I think this will be a wiser choice. And just slide it over and cut some of the parchment off. So let's try that. This might be a safer bet for us. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's much better. It already feels like it's gonna work out much better than yesterday. Yeah, because this is what I remember in my childhood, okay? Apart from not the parchment paper, because she ain't used no parchment paper. However, the way it looks right now, the feel of it, this is it. I have a good feeling about this, y'all. So let's just cut the excess off so it's not burning, because remember, we're still working with an air fryer. So we gotta cut all this excess or to start burning, hitting the air fryer coils. Ow. And be careful. So let's do that. Get that excess off. I'm gonna leave enough on here though so we can pull it out. All right, that looks about right. And I remember, you know, I'm thinking about cutting it, just a little cut on it, like that. And I remember the cuts that she had, okay? Maybe 2. Here you go. Just to give it some look. I don't have one of those slashers, but we do have the scissors. So I use the scissors because normally you know how to use the pretty cuts with the slasher, and that's back in the States because I left that behind. Actually, I sold it. But anyway, we're gonna put this back in the oven. It's looking pretty right now so far. Get that all the way in there. All right, air fryer, do your magic. And we're gonna let that bake. Oops, my temperature's down. Guys, hold on. We're gonna bake that for 30 minutes. Covered. Yeah, yep, because, you know, mistakes happen. Okay, now, this is a long ride we're on here. We're gonna bake it. So remember, we're mimicking the Dutch oven. All right, so now we're gonna bake that for 30 minutes covered in the oven. Then after the 30 minutes is up, we're gonna take the lid off and let it bake another 10 to 15 minutes, okay, to get that crust, all right? Okay, now. All right, so I let our bread cool down and it looks pretty good, guys. I think it looks good. I see some aerated holes in there, and usually the bread test is, you know, that knock on the bread, like knocking on the door, and so it should be hollow enough. So I think it was like 2 hours I let it cool, so maybe you wanna let it cool that or even longer. But we're gonna try to cut into it. Let's see the final results of our bread. Take 2. Look at those air holes. Wow, perfect, look at that. Let's cut one more slice. Woo. Whoa, you hear that crustiness though? I know you guys heard that, right? How crusty. Look at that, perfect. That's gonna be delicious. That is perfect spring. Aerated holes in there. That's what I was looking for. Reminds me of when I was a kid. So we did it, guys. We fixed it. The recipe will be on the website. The updated recipe or the new recipe will be on the website, guys. So hope you give this one a try. I know you'll love it. But first, before I go, hello, I need to taste a piece, okay? So let me go get some butter. Oh, this reminds me of home. And It has like a crunchy exterior, guys. It's crispy and crunchy on the outside, and like that chew that you get with homemade bread. And and it's fluffy on the inside. Look at this. Look at that. Perfect bread structure inside. You definitely got to make this one. Of course, the second version that I did, of course. But if you like videos like this with homemade goodness, then give this video a thumbs up, guys. Definitely turn on the notifications so that you'll know that when I upload a new video, you'll be notified by the YouTube gods, okay, the algorithms. So with that being said, guys, thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate you guys so much, and I love you, and I will see you on the next video. Bye. Thank you.